So the plan for today is just generally go through the Bjerk's TypeScript boilerplate. All right, are you with me, Brage and Marcus? Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to share my screen so we have something to read and see. All right. So I think the best way to start off here is to talk about the motivation. Why do we even bother to create this boilerplate? There's a whole lot of them, right? There's thousands of them on GitHub. So that's kind of maybe a key thing why we ended up doing something that has been done multiple times previously. So yeah. Should I just go through it? What do you think, guys? Should we? I think we can also speak about our personal reasons to work with this tool, but I can go through the ones that are, let's say, official, the ones that we have on our README. But yeah, the main thing is that we want to keep it bare bone, and by that I mean like it should bring us some value, meaning it should take us somewhere. It should be some generic starting point, like a boilerplate should be, but it shouldn't have a lot of stuff. An example that I remember me and Brage talk about way back was, should we even include Jest? Jest is a test runner. It's the most popular one and the one that we typically use for most of our projects. But we have a few projects where it's not used anymore, right? Where we don't use a Jest. Maybe like, for example, a Plumi project. So, and I think I speak for all of us. It's more the essence of it is just that, make it essential, the things that you want, always want, not just in specific cases, but in all of the cases. Does that make sense for you guys?
Yep. Really.
Yeah. Please fill in, Brage. That's
Yeah,
it's
like it's really important that your boilerplate doesn't bloat you. That's just like that's just so bad. Like,
yes,
you only want the essentials, nothing more. Just the stuff that you're always gonna need when you start a new project.
yeah, and to speak a little bit further on that, if the first thing you do is yarn remove, then you've sort of failed as a boilerplate, I would say. And also it's simple, right? It should be simple enough for all people to understand what the sort of basic components of it is, right? So yeah, going further, it's continuous attention to technical excellence. And I, just to have said it out loud, the main thing here is it comes from the Agile Manifesto. We want to have sort of a focus on that, that it's the best of what we have at the moment. So, and I think personal opinion here is that most of the boilerplates on GitHub, even though there's thousands of them, are outdated, and not just package JSON outdated. They are outdated, meaning they're something from 5 years ago, that sort of how we made project for TypeScript, not Node back then. So what I feel is a really big motivation, at least for my sake, or my opinion, is that the boilerplate should be kept very maintained, also in a way that we develop. For example, CommonJS versus ESM. Now, ESM is what you should make a new project based off. Instead of making a new boilerplate, we would adjust this create-bjerk-typescript to adhere to that policy, to be the ESM best approach. What do you think, guys? Do you believe? What are your feelings on it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you find yourself like for newer projects being like, oh yeah, I want to do this, and I want to do this thing, and you keep installing a package that you're using like in your newer projects, that should become part of the boilerplate. And if you find that there's some stuff that you don't use anymore, or it's like that it's like, ooh, this isn't optimal, but it's part of my boilerplate, should I keep it in? Well, no. I mean, you should strive to make it so that your new projects are always like perfect. Like, you don't want to start with a shaky foundation. So
right.
Yeah.
And that goes both ways, right? Lacking and when you have too much and too less. So it's always a balance. It's always changing in a way. I can speak about a few examples of this that we've had throughout creating this or maintaining this. For example, we have a jest.config.ts. It's now refactored to be TypeScript based. Reason, it is now the typical standard of jest. So in any new project that you typically use, it will come with a TypeScript version of the configuration. So therefore, we refactored it to be TypeScript instead of just a JavaScript file or JSON file for that matter. Furthermore, we use the ESM preset here. A funny thing that we mentioned jest as a difficult package to either have or not. When you have it, we have it in the boilerplate as of right now, but that might change, right?
That might
That's the point.
change for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Next thing is to keep it updated, and I think we can speak of just a sheer amount of commits. This project is what, a year old or something, I believe, maybe something like that, and we have had like almost one commit per day since then, and that's mainly because we are tediously updating the packages in this and releasing new versions of it, just so that you are in a project, you're based on the latest and greatest of all the packages. So yeah, and also just the combination of packages is also very important, right? That the dependencies are good together as well. So you know that you have just 29 that works with blah blah blah, etc. So yeah, and those are like the fourth, actually should be maybe a 4 there, but the fourth one is a boilerplate to be inspired by. And the point around this is to create a place where you have a single source of truth. Like, for example, if you need a configuration for your GitHub Actions, you can go here, you can go to workflows, and you can actually find a nice release flow. You can find a typical, build container script. There's stuff here that are highly maintained, so you can use those to your own advantage or your own project, essentially. We even have emojis over here, so that's pretty neat. Should we showcase how we do this? I think maybe one of you guys want to share your screen and pull up a new VS Code project, maybe, or something. Who want to do that?
Do you want to do it, Brage, or should I? I can do it.
Bragi is in his chair outside in his sunny lounging. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Great.
I can do it. I got my computer here.
Wait a minute. Welcome. I can do it.
Okay.
Probably
great.
easier for me since you're outside.
Or it might not be. We'll see.
Or it might not be.
I'll grant you that.
All right. So the first thing we want to do is open up a terminal.
It's not easier for me, obviously.
But I think you can open a terminal inside VS Code, even though you're not in a project. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
You might want to make your window a little bit smaller so we can see.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
This?
Yeah, a little bit narrower. Is that the right word? Yeah, something. I think we can see great now. Okay. So the command. Let's use yarn for this. Agree?
Yarn, yes.
Yes,
we should probably make a folder, right?
It will make a folder on its own, actually. Yes, so you don't need to worry about that. So just type yarn create dash, no, not dash, space. We're using functionality from yarn here. Bjerk-TypeScript. And then create a name of some sorts. new project. Sure. Yeah. I would never name my folder with like that, but that's all right. Okay. So now we have a
Case.
project. You can see the destination there, so you can probably open that in with your open folder function.
I'll just find my folder. New project.
Yes. Okay. So this is like a pretty easy. This is how it is when you initialize it. So it comes with an editor config. We can start there maybe.
Yep.
Comes with a default editor config where there's indent size is 2. That's the main thing, and we use space instead of tab. It feels like the most typical opinion, like the most popular opinion when it comes to tabbing or indent styling. So we were defaulting on that. Even though VS Code, just a little fun fact, VS Code does not come with that by default. I think it is indent style space and 4 as 4 spaces is one indent. Funny enough. So yeah, and then we have the git ignore file. This is just the basic one that comes with GitHub. It's really easy. You can just move on from that. Because this is a sort of an annoying fact about Prettier is that it can read git ignore, but then it cannot read Prettier ignore. And sometimes there's stuff that you don't want to ignore. You want to ignore with Prettier, but that's why we're maintaining our own file for it. Example of this is our log file. You always want to commit your log file, but you don't want to prettyify it. Does that make sense? So, but in your experience, Brage, you made a few integrations with this boilerplate firm since we made it. Sort of, what's your immediate thing that you do when you start a new project?
Well, basically, I just go through package.json just to check that like the name is like correct or something, like the name of the module.
Yep.
Really, like I don't do any other things than just start installing the packages I'm going to actually use. Like if it's a backend project, I'll get my server framework up and running. I'll swap out the index file for something related to that. It's it's like for me, it's like really plug and play. I don't have to like change any modules. Eventually I'll install more stuff that is specifically for that project, but I never feel like I have to install kind of like the general things or change the general things. Like I'm happy to just use the Prettier config that's here, use the ESLint, just like let it do its thing.
Right. And by the way, let's have a look at the source files. Marcus, maybe we should look at them. This is actually a little funny tidbit, because I think I want to open a pull request on this, because on line 7 here, you see that we are just doing, if you go back to the main file, on line 7, we're doing main as a function. We're running that function, the main function. But we're on ESM here, so we have top level await. So I think we should showcase that.
Yeah. We should check that.
Yeah.
We don't need to call a function to do async. We can do it straight off the bat.
Yeah, we can. No, I think I agree. There's little to none, no adding or changing any settings. It's like really default settings on all of them. And actually, we're using ESLint, Björk's own. We're also maintaining, by the way, our own ESLint config, which you can see that we're on version 4. And we're using my Prettier config, which is really basic. That just got a new version, by the way. So we're now on version 3, but it also changed name on it. Not to go into the deeper things, but we have some new features there that's hopefully going to land into the Bjerk TypeScript project as well. So essentially, what it's going to get is it's going to get a Prettier plugin for package.json so that we can prettify our package files as well. And then organize imports is now a part of Prettier as well, which I think is going to be good, really good for us. Anyway, yeah. I don't know if there is anything left to say about this. Actually, it comes with a Docker file. That's a new addition. We added a Docker file because main thing here is that it is a nightmare to find Docker files that are good. Right? I didn't have any place where I could just go and grab a nice multi-stage Docker file that was built for our typical runtime, like Node and with Yarn. Obviously, there's a lot of them out there, but there was no centralized place where I felt like we could get it. So therefore, I contributed and added the Docker file. So yeah, I think
we should run the program.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, maybe you want to open a new window, like a new terminal.
Yeah, I probably should.
You can just click the plus button if you're in if you want to do you do it in VS Code.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go.
I don't remember. Is it dev?
Yeah, you have to install Yarn first.
Yeah.
Then you have to. You can see there the Cobras/Prettier is now deprecated. So I'm going to open a few pull requests on that. It's going to be a few. It's everywhere.
It's a bit ironic that you're kind of promoting how updated it is, and
then it's not. Yeah, but again, I landed that yesterday at like 11 in the evening. So anyway, so yeah, let's do Yarn build, for example. As you can see, it's built and it now made a dist folder that we can see on our folder. Yep, here we go. And it uses, as you can see, or maybe you can't, but it's an ESM way of doing it, style, or type is probably the right way to say it. And then it also comes with a Yarn dev script that we can also showcase. This uses TS Node in the background, and it has automatic, or it's set up like you typically would assume, meaning it has a watch mode. So every time you change anything, it reloads. So for most projects, that makes sense, right? Assuming if you're creating a Fastify server, you probably want to reboot that server once you save. So there you go, example of that. Yeah, good. I think maybe that summarizes it. It's a good little showcase of our little project. And I think I just want to say on behalf of all of us, we would love for people to contribute to this. This is not like even though I am maybe the sole contributor at this point of this project, doesn't mean that I want to be the sole contributor. I think it is open for everyone to contribute, showcase, and there is actually a request for comments on our issues right now that we recently posted. That we're suggesting that we're changing from Yarn to PNPM. So that's something we really want to hear people's opinion on. And I think if we're able to create a community around the boilerplate package, then that boilerplate package will eventually become the king of boilerplates. So I think that's really something to stretch towards. So anyway, if you guys don't have anything else, I think we can end it here. And yeah, Marcus?
Yeah, no.
Good?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for watching this. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.